aka Nisha the Voice, coming in for another edition of Industry Conversations One on One. I tell y'all right now, like I'm excited. We've been telling you about this all week. My boy Destruct from the West
Woo!
Coast.
All day. In case they don't know,
Yes,
that's right there. You know what I'm
I
saying?
see that. I see that repping LA.
All day.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you on the show. When I heard your music, you, I can tell why you were rocking with the greats because your flow is timeless, it's classic. MC, producer, film creator. You produce short films. So we're gonna definitely get into the conversation right now. And I know that everyone wants to know. I kind of got an idea of how you got the name Destruct, but I want to hear from you. How did you get that name?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate y'all, and the support has been, honestly unbelievable. So just thank you for having me on your platform. And the professionalism is like beyond belief. So thank you again, and for the introduction as well. I'm really honored to be here to, chopping it up with you. But in regards to the name, honestly, there ain't nothing too crazy to the origin. I was about 12 years old, right? And at the time, I didn't really have a solidified name yet, and I was really falling in love with hip hop, and I kind of knew that this was the path I wanted to really invest in. So Destruct really came out of nowhere, and it's funny.
Wow.
It's because even though I do have a battle rap background, and I definitely get busy, when it comes to my MCing department, I'm definitely more on a positive note. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'll may I use profanity by chance?
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is a real show.
Okay. Sure. Best believe I fuck shit up when it comes to this, this mic business, but I'm definitely on a more positive and I'm saying more creative tip. But Destruct really was something that I felt when you heard it, you really didn't know what to expect. And now a decade plus in the game and building up that name, I feel like I couldn't be called anything else because I feel like it could be a rock band, it could be a DJ. It's one of those things that you just got to hear it to really understand my sound, my vision, and I couldn't see myself being called anything else. So it's just crazy how
Agreed.
name that I never expected kind of matched my style.
Yeah, agreed. And you just kind of that was a great segue into my next question. It's basically when you talk about you started this journey at 17, so even being introduced to Spanish rock, it's one of those things where you like you said you fell in love with hip hop. So who introduced you to hip hop? Was it something that you just I know you said that you fell in love with it, but who introduced you? What was that thing that said to you, you know what, I want to start this journey in hip hop?
Well, it's a great question. So I started rapping when I was 6, right? My name was established when I was 12, and then I jumped in the scene, like really gigging and putting my name out there when I was barely 18. So like at the tail end of when I was 17. But my true introduction, and it's a funny story. Who I could really blame from my real introduction to hip hop was I don't know if you remember the old TV channel for kids. It's still around. You remember Nickelodeon by chance?
Yes.
So they had this classic cartoon called Rugrats. You remember Rugrats?
Oh my God, favorite show. They're doing the reboot,
Yeah,
so
they don't make it like they used to. Oh, reboots is cool, but they don't make it like they used to, right?
no,
So, so the Rugrats, they had a commercial from the legendary Crisscross, which I believe one of the members passed away. Rest in peace.
yeah.
I don't know if it was Mac Daddy or Daddy Mac, but Crisscross did a commercial for them, and I was just blown away. I was like, what is this music combining with this show that I was already a fan of, and I thought it was so interesting. And I kid you not, right then and there, I just started freestyling. I started beatboxing, like this music
Mm,
flowing through me. Anytime I had a talent show or a school project, any way that I could incorporate this hip hop culture to what I was doing, I was back. And it's all because of that commercial. And then I'm an only child. But when my mom and my stepdad, back in 97, 98, I went from an only child to growing up with 8 stepsisters. And it wasn't no,
mm,
it was crazy household, right? But
wow.
they introduced me to a lot more different artists. And one of the first hip hop albums I got, I think I came up on the CD from one of my stepsisters, was a Warren G, Regulate, G Funk era. And that
That's
album,
classic. That is classic. I'm
classic.
telling you.
yeah, celebrating, I believe I believe it's the 25th anniversary. But yeah, that album really blew my mind. Not just because of Nate Dogg's, beautiful melodics, just Warren G's production was so lush. It
Mm-hmm.
let you know that you didn't have to be the roughest, toughest guy to still make something that was hard hitting and something that was,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So yeah, so from Rugrats to Warren G, that was my true introduction to this hip hop thing that obviously evolved to so many other things, whether if it was Wu-Tang, Biggie, Tupac, and the list goes on to my inspirations. But my true origination was Criss Cross, Rugrats commercial, and Warren G's debut album.
Wow. I mean, that's so unique. And speaking of the greats, you have had the opportunity to share the stage with some of the greats. KRS One, Rakim, just to name a few, Slum Village. Because your sound reminds me a lot of that era. And when you talk about Warren G, Doctor, Warren G, that whole crew, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop, that whole crew. I'm telling you, like, what I loved about them was that they used I say funkadelics. They used the funkadelics combined with what was going on at that time, to
Right.
where it made the music classic. It made it timeless, and they used those samples. I'm a huge R&B, funk, soul, type individual, and when you would hear that type of music, it does something to your soul, does something to your spirit. And then when they added their lyrics on top of that, it just does something to you. And that's why it's like, when I heard you on the promo, when I heard your music, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that as well, some of your music, you know
Mhm.
I can see why you where you are, because at the end of the day, like I said, your flow is timeless. It goes along with that genre. So that's, I was like, wow. And then even, to take a look at more, into your catalog, and to see Nipsey Hussle in one of your pictures, I was like, okay, yeah, now this makes sense. It makes perfect sense, because that's your flow. That's you all day. And
Right.
I really think, like, when you talked about your inspirations, you know, that is that's commendable, because we do not see a lot of storytellers anymore. We
Right.
don't have a lot of storytellers anymore. It's more about riding the wave, instead of speaking about things that people can, yes,
I
riding
feel
the
you.
wave, riding
I
the
feel
wave, and not
you.
speaking about things that we're, for years we can go back and listen to your music, and that can help us get through things. People don't understand, music heals the soul, okay? And you know what I mean. A lot of people are going through so many things right now, and music has really helped a lot of people get through this pandemic. You know what I mean?
Let's believe that.
Definitely.
Let's believe that. Nah, I couldn't agree with you anymore. The first tattoo I ever got on me, I'm originally, my family's from Brazil. My mom's from Brazil. My dad's from Chile. And the first tattoo I ever got on me, it says nothing without music in
Yeah.
Portuguese. Nada sem música, because that really lets people know that how much this music thing, moves me. It's not just some financial gain or a career choice. It's my livelihood. It's my passion. It's really the way that I embody my vision and move on through this life. They gave me a purpose, they gave me a voice, and there is no better form of medicine or creative, outlet than this thing called music, especially hip hop,
Yeah.
which is safe to say the most diverse genre they could be.
It
I,
is.
I tell everybody, I keep my Sade next to my Wu-Tang just to let people know that I'm as diverse with my input as much as my output. So I appreciate you saying that. And definitely, rest in peace to Nip and all the greats that, whether are still here breathing or we lost, too early, people that really paved the way, not just in creating a unique sound, regardless of what coast you represented, but more importantly, a unique perspective. You know what I'm saying? Nipsey, in regards of his business mentality, branding, definitely revitalized and changing the game, especially with that $100 mixtape and the Jay-Z
Yes.
$1,000 worth. So just goes to show you, from everything that I've been brought up with, in my background, that's all I ever really wanted my music to represent, is, like you said, from storytelling to substance. Because a lot of people now, you're right, is riding the wave. It's a
Mhm.
copy of a copy.
Yep.
Original is really, really rare nowadays. And that's something that I always take pride in, is I wanted to have a distinctive sound, voice, look, whatever, to let people know that, yeah, there's a lot of these guys, but there's only one Destruct. There's only one me, just like there's only one
Exactly.
There's only one niche to the voice. You smell me? So yeah,
Exactly. See, yeah. So you get it. So it's like it's and coming from the era that I'm from, in the industry, they, back then it was more so you didn't. Everybody was unique. Everybody was different.
right.
You couldn't have another Monica. You couldn't have
Oh,
another Brandy. You
that's why
you
they
could never
do.
have a Dr. Dre. Right.
Right? That's why they got deals. I remember Busta saying that the reason why the music was so great, especially in the golden era, because you could only get signed if you had talent. It wasn't this
Hmm.
buzz-driven perspective now where you got bots or machines faking your numbers and just faking the funk. You really had to be talented and actually gifted. That's why, like you said, Monica, Brandy, like there's a reason why all these versus battles is reminding people how legendary these artists are, whether it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Isleys,
Hmm.
RZA, Primo. It's a great reminder to let people know that there's a reason why these people got signed, because they actually had a God-given talent to make that.
Exactly.
Feel me? And
Exactly.
that's what I'm trying to represent now is, trends come and go, but a
Hmm.
legacy lasts forever. And that's what I'm about. I'm not here about to follow a trend or to build a trend. I'm here to build a legacy and make timeless music. Because you know what? People change, but the songs remain.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I think they always say the 90s was the golden era because of the fact, like you said, individuals that were signed back then, you had to have talent. You really had to have talent in order to be signed by a label. If
Yep.
you were not, if trust me, if you did not have talent, they would drop you in a heartbeat.
Right.
I've seen so many things happen to, artists along the way. And yeah, it is the industry is rough. I mean, it's really rough. And now you see so many one hit wonders, so many artists that come out, they only have one record. The record may do well. They may tour maybe a whole year, and that's it. You will never hear from them again.
That's it. Yeah. No,
You know?
absolutely. Perfect example. Who was that one with that one cat? Oh, a designer. Remember Panda?
Yeah.
Backed up by the world's big, if not, if forget hip hop, one of the biggest artists of all time. He was on Kanye's label, and he's still a one hit wonder.
He
Unfortunately,
is. He is.
compare that to like compare that to a Busta Rhymes or a Talib Kweli or even Warren G, who's still making great quality music today and still relevant.
Exactly.
And the biggest difference, though, especially in regards to this whole industry outlook, is of course social media
Hmm.
accessibility. So there's a reason why artists from the golden era are still lasting today, because they had the hunger and ability and drive to get out there, get signed, make the moves with no social platforms. This is before the internet. You know what I mean? Now
Yes.
I look at this internet, this whole internet world as a gift and a curse, because yeah, it's great to get out there and have that access to communicate, network, sell your merch, do what you got to do. But at the same time, not everyone, no offense, is really meant to do this music. Not everyone has that talent, that true love, because the money's gonna come and go. But this music thing is one of those things that if you honestly don't love it from the bottom of your heart, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, you know what? I totally agree with that. And you said something earlier that made perfect sense. Like it's a gift and a curse. Social media is a gift and a curse because a lot of people that have all these million followers, it's not true followers. It's not true followers. A lot of the views, yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the views are not true views. Even a lot of the streams are not true streams. I remember like last year when there were so many people that came out about there's so many companies, marketing companies that were talking to a lot of artists, trying to get artists to buy these marketing strategies. And
Yeah.
come to find out, you saw all these independent artists that had all these million of followers. And it was, like you said, generated, machine generated. A lot of these streams, artists that you've never heard of. But
Right.
here is someone said this, and I don't know who it was. Here's the test. You have a million followers on Instagram, a million followers on YouTube.
Right.
Try to pack out a concert. If
See
you
what
can't do a concert and you can't sell that concert out and nobody knows your music, all of that is fake.
exactly. I mean,
All of
you
it's
don't,
fake.
don't bullshit in yourself if you bullshit the results. And that's why everything nowadays is for the looky loo, just to show off and be like, hey, it may seem like it's really cracking, but it's all just smoke and mirrors. That's why
Yeah,
when it came to the golden era, it was hand to hand. I came
that's right.
I came in the scene when MySpace was barely cracking. So I really did my homework. I got out there. I went to open mics. I did whatever I had to do to get my name on a flyer and actually pass that flyer out hand to hand to people. I actually would go to Hollywood Boulevard, to Melrose, to Venice, sell my CDs hand to hand. I mean, I know CDs, rest in peace, is a lost
Yeah.
art,
Yeah.
you know, lost piece of technology, but that's what I did. And I think that's the thing that's missing from a lot of these artists is that real, saying solid foundation of
Yeah.
actually knowing what it is to put your name out there, not just posting, actually having a real connection with someone in person. Because ain't
Mhm.
nothing, like you said, rocking the actual crowd. Because what's an artist without fans? What's an artist without the most important
Exactly.
to the table, which is our live show, which is our bread and butter. It's where we
Right.
sell
And
our.
a lot of these artists don't have that. A lot of these artists cannot perform.
They cannot.
They do
And or
not
if
have a stage
they
presence.
do, exactly. Or if they do perform, they break that number one cardinal rule, which is singing over or rapping over your damn song. It's like, man, people paid all this hard-earned cash to see you rap over music, lip sync your
Oh,
shit on some Ashley Simpson shit. It's like, come on, man. We can go to karaoke bar and have a better show. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's something that I think people really forget about, the true science that it takes to be a musician, an artist, where
Exactly.
your show doesn't represent how good your recordings are, then what's the point? Then it's all just auto tone bullshit. It's all an illusion. You know what I mean?
Right. And so the same as and I'm gonna go back to some of the verses. For instance, the Red Man and Method Man verses. Oh my god, amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing because it was look, they have so much energy. You know? They're not these teeny boppers, but they still have the energy of those teeny boppers. They still bring the energy to the crowd.
Yep.
Everyone at home was talking about it because they were entertaining, they were telling stories, and the vibe was just so right. The vibe was just so right. And I think now a lot of these artists that come out and they do these shows, they're standing in one place. They don't really have a show. Like when I go to a concert and I pay my hard earned money, I want to be on my feet all night long. You
Right.
know, and there's only a few people that a few concerts that I've been to where I was on my feet all night, or I was so excited to
Yeah.
see perform, to see this person perform. And then now you go to these clubs, a lot of the artists, they don't perform to 3 4 o'clock in the morning, and soon as they come on stage, they have the mindset now, oh, I do 2 songs and I'm out. It's just it's I don't see the and I say this like delicately, but I just don't see the craftsmanship in
Yeah.
perfecting your performance.
You don't see the passion. Let me tell you, one of the biggest shows I ever did, I had the honor to open for Method Man, right? It was at this theater called the Yost in the OC, and there was almost 1,000 people there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing show. I tell you, that versus was just a little appetizer of like the full course meal in regards of performance, passion, just energy of what Method Man and Redman bring to the table. And Redman actually was a little surprise guest as well. So
Right.
the fact that I feel like that's a lost art too, that people really don't even have the drive enough to, let alone do a full set, but let alone rap over the instrumental by itself, let alone actually have your presence be felt. And at the same
Right.
time, pay homage to those that came before you. I think the most beautiful thing about that Method Man and Redman versus is that you saw K Solo, Dev Squad, EPMD, Wu Tang. It was such a family affair, reminding you that you got to give your flowers to the greats while they still here. I mean, we
I
lost
agree.
more than enough this year alone, right? From last year to this year, from the couple years to now, from Nip to Shock G to Black Rob to MF Doom to Double K to DMX, the list goes on. So that's a whole other conversation. But in regards to live shows, every artist I just named brought it. I've seen Nipsey live, DMX live, the people under the stairs, legendary artists, no matter if it's indie or major, still bring their craftsmanship full circle. Like you said, and it's a shame that now, regardless of how much more success or money they get, you would think they would be more enthusiastic of actually delivering when it counts. But unfortunately, I think another, curse about the social media thing is that it's made a lot of artists lazy. It made a lot of artists lazy and kind of lose their hunger because they think, you know what, all I need is a post or a YouTube, a couple million views, and
And
I'm
that's
good.
it. That's
That's
it.
it. But when you see me live though, is it gonna really count? Are you gonna feel me? Because like I said, if I can't feel you live, more than likely I ain't gonna feel your recordings, and that could go vice versa. You know,
Yeah,
so it's
and it's the same. And this is a prime example. Um, Corley, I think her name is Corey, I think.
yeah.
So she just performed in Houston,
Mhm.
and the crowd was just staring at her. She got no response,
Wow.
none. No response at all. She was performing,
What
and the crowd was just looking.
not delivering, or she just didn't sound good live, or
So what I could tell from the video, it was more so where they were just looking like they were just not entertained.
mm,
And she did put she sent out a tweet. Basically, she was talking about how she didn't people didn't respond to her, didn't receive her as well. We've all been there where we've gone to or performed somewhere where the crowd does not respond to you as well.
it's a tough crowd. But you know what? The show must go on. I've been there, and let's be honest. Let's be honest. A lot of shows now is really artists performing for other artists. You know, it's just
That's
people
it.
they bring in a crowd, and as soon as you're done, oh, we gotta leave. We too cool. Or I'm gonna post up against the wall. It's almost like people are afraid to be a fan of something they never heard of, or because
I
if it is,
agree.
or if they're not industry related. To me, I'm like, you know what? You can't get a more honest reaction than rocking a room full of strangers. And let me tell you, majority of
Say
shows in
it.
my life have been that. And I can still rock the house by myself, no hype man, even no DJ. I get busy on my iTunes and make sure I gotta cut the beats out where it is. So I just gotta tell the DJ, yo, just press play. I take it from here. So, and that's just because, like I said, I care about this so much that whatever lane I'm moving in, whether if it's visually, performing, recording, I'm gonna give them 100% because I love what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And
Right.
not representation,
Exactly.
perspective, and more importantly, quality over everything is the most important. And that's something that a lot of artists just don't really cherish. They don't really care
Right.
about that.
And they don't have that either. So I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Now let's
Yeah.
talk about you. 31 studio albums.
Almost
That
as much
is
as hey,
insane.
crazy.
Listen, that is insane, okay?
Yeah.
You have legends who have not hit that 31 mark yet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay? That shows, like you said, that shows your passion, and that shows, your hunger for this. Congratulations on 31 studio albums. That
Thank you
is a
so much.
huge that's a huge accomplishment. I do want to know, like, is the goal mainstream or the goal to just stay underground where you are?
Honestly, underground is like a term that's just kind of obsolete in my mind because I definitely, I admit I'm a boom bap kid at heart, but even with Dream State, my last record, I worked with producers that they got a gold plaque with Little Dicky. They worked with ASAP Mob. They worked with The Game. That's why even Nightmares kind of has a borderline kind of trap bounce to it.
Yeah.
To me, there really is no limit to it. My honest perspective is I just want to make an honest living, making honest music, regardless of what I'm feeling at the moment, whether if it's something by Swiss Beats or something by DJ Premier. I just feel like I'm a universal artist that can really move in any lane. I mean, I've rocked with a lot of OGs and a lot of up and comers, regardless of styles, whether if it was last week or 10 years ago. So to me, I only choose the indie route because unfortunately the industry is just so dark and manipulated,
Oh, it
especially
is.
now with all they serving is 360 deals, and it's like, man, you just better off on your own. That's why a lot
You
of the
are.
OG and legendary acts is going independent. You know what I mean? So I mean, I can never knock the machine, but to me, is if you ain't getting represented, how you want to be represented, and if you ain't making the music that you honestly don't even want to be doing, then what's the point? So to me, it isn't about commercial, it ain't about underground. It's just making the best music I can make, and wherever it lands, however the planets align, I'm all for it. Just know that you're gonna get 100% from me every time you hear me. So that's just really my whole perspective.
Hey, that's you know
No,
what that is as real as it gets. And I want to talk more about your song Nightmare. Had the opportunity to listen to it, and then also took a look at the video. I tell you, my mind was blown when I watched the video because there were so many things that were going through my mind. And I said, I wonder what the concept was when you actually shot the video, because you're saying so many things political. You're also saying, you're actually putting a lot of things out there for people to think about. And I really think it's great. But I do want to hear your perspective. What was the vision for that Nightmare video?
Nah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you kind of really, hit the needle on the head in regards of my music. And a lot of my music is really open for interpretation. Like I'm not really one to preach. And even though most of my stuff is pretty positive, I always kind of leave it open for the listener to really, hate it or love it, but you got to respect it and just know
Right.
that coming through, it's coming from a genuine place. I haven't seen it all. I haven't done it all, but I've been through enough to have a pretty interesting perspective on things. And with Nightmares, the album is called Dream State, and the whole concept and vibe of the album was about manifesting dreams to reality, things
Hmm.
that we go through to a point where it's like, man, is this real that we going through? Is this something that we really want to be living through, or is this something that we sleep in? Are we fooling ourselves? So it's definitely a deep record. And with
Hmm.
Nightmare, what Nightmares represents on the album is, just like there's good in life, there's also bad in life. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Nightmares metaphor that you don't got to be asleep just to be going through a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? And
Gotcha.
when it came to the visuals, I worked with this up and coming director, and he had this whole idea. I kind of wanted like an open desert kind of feel, just because I felt it matched with the eeriness of the song. You know what I mean? The song just sounded
Hmm.
really mixy, and I mean, I don't know about you, but what's one of the worst places you could be lost in, but in the desert, right? Where they
Exactly. Yeah.
around. No, ain't no cell phones, ain't no social media, ain't no cars, no gas, nothing. So that's what kind of wanted the video to represent, is like, hey, welcome to the nightmare. All demons welcome. You know what I mean? You never know
Yeah.
what can hit you from any angle. And I think just being, in the middle of the desert kind of lets you know, like, hey, you're really out here on your own. And it's like a metaphor for life. You're really out here on your own. Like, you're just trying to figure this shit out while these demons trying to hold you back. You got to see the light at the end of the day and really see if you're on the right path. And that's the note that I try to really end on. And if you notice in the middle of the song, there's a little, I'm sure you've seen the movie The Matrix, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They got part four coming out this year. I think they should have left it alone, but I put a little sample in the middle of the song where he says, this is the life we're living in. You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't a dream world. This is like the
Mm.
life we're living in. So
Yeah.
it, it's deeper than rap, as the great Rick Ross would say. This shit gets deeper than rap, and that's what kind of Nightmares represented. That, hey man, as bad as shit gets, you got to push through it, and hopefully tomorrow will be a better day.
Right. It does, especially with so much going on right now in America. We have so many things that are going on, so many things that we can talk about. And like you said, sometimes you wake up every day and you strive to do better than the next than you did yesterday. And it's one of those things, just like you said, in regards to nightmare. It's when you're out on your own, that's one thing I think we never realize once we turn 18, 21, that when you're out, when you're really out on your own, you're really out on your own, and you really have to fend for yourself. And that's how this music industry is.
Very true.
I always say that you have no friends in this business. The ones that you do, the ones that do care, the ones that really do care about your well-being and want to see you succeed, you have to learn how to keep those individuals close. Because when you're out there on your own, and I know you probably have experienced this as an artist, I know I have too. And when you're out
Mm.
there on your own, especially when you do have the passion and the hunger to, um, you know, be the best artist that you can be, you have, like you said, demons, you have vultures that latch on to your passion, latch on to your dream, and try to sell you those dreams of, hey, I can make you $1 million. We all know.
Yeah, they come in many forms, right? The demons
Yeah,
come in
we
many,
we
many
we all
guys.
know. Yeah, and they sell you the dream of where you can be, this top star. You know you can be the top star. You know that you have that talent. It's the point of actually getting there, and when record execs, when they see how bad you really want it, that's when you really see, who's for you and who's not for you, of the way how they move, in this industry. So it's I know it's been, relevant in the industry for years, but now when you have, it's more about business, it's more about sales now. um we don't really have, and like you said, we don't really have the OGs in the game that really had the niche for music, who really loved music. Because if you remember back in the day, those record execs, they were music producers. Majority of them were music producers. Majority of them, really had that passion, that love for music and new music. Now you have executives, you have people that are just sitting in those seats that care about numbers.
They on the outside looking in. I feel you. It's all buzz driven. Absolutely. And as the old saying goes, just in regards of the company you keep, you ain't growing up if you're not losing friends. So you got to keep it.
Hey,
You feel
I
me? You got to
agree.
small. You got to be very selective. This year has been a fortunate and an unfortunate year. You know what I'm saying? For me, my peoples. But you know what? What don't kill you only make you stronger. We still here striving. We're still here looking young. I'm about to be 33 this year. If I shave this, I can
All
still,
right. Ah,
I can still go to the quinceañera and get it cracking. But it's cool though because
hey.
feel me? I still feel youthful. I'm trying to hide these grays and shit. I'm trying. Might have to get some Beijing or some cracking later, but I still feel youthful and I still feel more polished than ever because, like I said, I haven't seen it all, I haven't done it all, but I've been through enough that really
Yeah.
helped me this perspective, and more importantly, help me, help me grow as an artist, not just as a man, as a human being. Help me grow as an artist, and you're right. This year hasn't been easy for anybody, especially in the music biz. You can only imagine that it was tough already. You know what I'm saying? Before the pandemic hit, now we got to find ways to sustain, get more creative with our output. Like I'm glad that me and my lady about to go on tour, this weekend, and we going from all over the states. We're going to New York twice, and it's just a blessing to see things kind of slowly get back to normal, but it's
Right.
still a fight nonetheless. And ain't nothing guaranteed. I mean, shit, there could be a meteor falling on us tomorrow. So I'm just trying to make the most of it while we still here, give the flowers to the OG while they still here, and
Yes.
give you the best product, and wherever it lands, and whatever wherever the cards are dealt, I'm ready. I'm ready to face them. Um, I'm shooting a video in New York, right? And there's this real positive song that I'm working on for the next project. And I say, fame was never a driving force when it came to this course. I do this because I love it. Never planning divorce. Committed since day one, like I was born in a psych ward. Now I'm on the road every week. This is my life tour. Apply pressure whenever you feel a slight sore. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger than how you were before. So,
Hey.
so it's just we
I
here.
was waiting for the beat to drop. I'm like, yeah, keep going.
Drop the beat if you want.
Hey, you can do it. I mean, I'm telling you, like, yeah, your flow is sick. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you, thank you. I'm honestly, I'm a self-proclaimed old soul when it comes to this. I love what I do, and I know talk is cheap, so I put everything to my music, so my music can speak for itself. You know what I mean? At
Right,
the end of
definitely, definitely. Well, before I let you go, I do want to know what can we expect throughout this year and then going into 2022 for Destruct.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. So I'm still pushing my latest record, Dream State. Shout out to the whole Black Amish family who killed the beats. So I'm still pushing my latest record, Dream State. For more information and all that, and merch and all that, you can get it at destructmusic.com. I still got a couple visuals in the works. Like I said before, me and my lady about to go on tour. It's called the City Slickers Art Tour. We're gonna be hitting up LA, Nevada, San Diego, Long Beach, New York. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you want more information, you can hit me on Destruct Music on my IG. I got my band as well. Shout out to my band, Inner City Soul. We just put out a B-sides collection of a whole bunch of rarities and things that were unreleased. So we got some things in motion for that. Um, I'm executive producing as well. We here at my studio, Area 52. So look out for my lady, Silver and Gold. She got her amazing second album coming out this summer as well. I got about 4 other projects. I'm working with other people behind the scenes. Yeah, man, new solo. I mean, I don't sleep much. I live and breathe for this music. Got some real big collabs coming as well. And I'm also going to get into some more films and videos I'm gonna be directing, and I run my studio full time. So I mean, the hunger and the work ethic is gonna speak for itself. You already know what it is. We about that life,
Yeah,
man. Talk is
definitely.
the work, the music, the actions is all gonna speak for itself.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And I can appreciate it. You know, running your own studio area 52, where you are, what it seems like where you are right now, definitely, being able to have your own studio, be creative when it comes to, directing and also your tour, which I know is going to be amazing. Can't wait to see the footage. I do follow you on IG, so excited for you, and can't wait to see what all you have in store for us. Definitely love the song Nightmares. I love the visuals. Looking forward to more from you. I thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show with me tonight, and chopping it up with me, even giving me a little bit of bars. So
Try.
definitely, like, I love it. I love it. Love it. Gotta get you back some more, so we can chop it up again. Definitely.
Absolutely, yo. Thank you so much. Shout out to Preston Mag, Industry Convo. Nisha, thank you so much. I want to make sure I pronounce is it Nisha or Nisha?
It's Nisha. Yeah. You had
I
it
was
right.
right the first time. I was right the first time.
Yeah, you had it
Uh,
right. You had it right. You had it right.
Honestly,
Again,
it
yes.
was a pleasure. Honestly, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Definitely look forward to building with you, and then hopefully, maybe even stop by on one of the tour stops. Love to have you come.
Yeah.
Get the
Indeed.
get the VIP
Indeed, man.
treatment. Get the VIP treatment. Some bottles cracking. We take care of our.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to it.
For
Again,
sure.
shouts out to Preston Magazine for sponsoring Industry Conversations 101. I'm your girl, Nisha, aka Nisha the Voice. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you guys.
Love. Peace.